Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this hybrid meeting of Angus Council Licensing Board. I would remind all attendees that this meeting is being recorded and webcast live on the Council's YouTube channel. I would remind all remote attendees to mute their microphones when not speaking, unless they wish to speak, and they should do so by raising their hands remotely. Can I also remind remote members attending hybrid meetings where quasi-judicial matters are being considered, they are not permitted to participate by audio only and must have their video camera functions switched on at all times. Thank you. Item 1, apologies for absence.
Yes, Convener, there's no apologies today. Councillors Brenda Durno, Councillor Gavin Nicholl and Councillor Tommy Stewart have joined us remotely. The rest of the members are in the chamber.
Thank you. Declarations of interest and statements of transparency. Do we have any? No? Okay, on to item 3, minutes of the previous meeting. Can we agree these as a true record of the meeting? Agreed. Thank you. That takes us to item 4, premises licence applications. And the first one up is Arbroath Harp Community Club, which is page 12 in your papers. Now, do we have, is it Paul Gray?
That's correct, yes.
Mr. Gray, would you like to talk to your application?
Yes, thank you very much. Dear members of the board, I'm here to speak on behalf of Arbroath Harp Community Club and its application for a full licence to be in place at the club. We understand there has been some concerns raised by local residents near the facility, and we'd like to address those concerns and answer any further questions the board may have. During the application process, it was my understanding that by selecting adult entertainment section on the forum, this included gambling events such as casino nights or poker nights. To us, that type of event would fall into this category, as this would not be an event we would allow children to attend. We believe there may be some confusion in the terminology, and that it would appear that we are looking to host events with further adult themes. In hindsight, we can see how this can be construed. This is not something we will ever look to have at the club, as working with many community groups in the area, this goes against our values and aims. If I have mistaken this, and the gambling type of events are not under the adult entertainment section of a licence, we would seek to have that removed from the application. It was also suggested that the beer terrace was installed by us. However, we can clarify that the terrace was in place when we took over the lease of the building in 2022. Outdoor drinking was previously in place by the previous occupants. Our outdoor drinking policy will be for on the deck in only until 9 p.m. We believe this is in line with other premises in the town, and after 9 p.m. we will have barriers in place to cordon off the deck in and access to the green area. Our outdoor lighting to the area will be controlled by our wireless network currently in place and automatically turn off any lighting by 9 p.m. We accept there has been an issue in the past, and we have now implemented the resources to rectify the issue. Our application is for 7 days per week from 12 noon to midnight. These times were submitted as it would be difficult for us to pinpoint week to week when a licence would be required. However, we can say that the club will not be open for alcohol consumption Monday to Friday before 4 p.m, as the 4 members of the committee all have prior work commitments. The opening hours were also sought to alleviate the club having to put in variations to the licence should we be asked to host an event during the school holiday times, as we have been previously requested to do so. If the members of the board wish, we would be willing to concede the opening times from 12 noon to 4 p.m, so that this fits with the school college closing times during the term time, and also close by 10 p.m. Sunday to Thursday should we be open on these days. The community club is a building financially supported by the local football club of the same name and some community groups who use the facility. The money that comes from the football club helps pay the rent, utility bills and the upkeep of both buildings at McDonald Park. Events in the past have eased the burden on the football club financially. Also, profits are given back to the club for new kit, equipment, facility hire and for them to be able to provide free football activities to the community. It is much needed income having a full licence, as this allows us to invest in the building, the outdoor areas and our community objectives. The club will also be seeking to speak to canvassing the neighbours to form a working relationship going forward to respect their living space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll maybe take the opportunity just to bring in legal, if that's okay, just to get some clarity.
Sorry, thank you, Convener. I just wondered if you could repeat what you were saying about your hours that you were considering changing to, just so I've got an accurate note of that. Sorry, it was quite fast.
Apologies. So, if the board were to grant the licence, we'd be willing to concede our opening hours from 12 noon. We would concede and we would not open until 4 p.m. on any given day. And Sunday to Thursday, we would close by 10 p.m. in the evening. We would really only be open through the week for like Champions League, Europa League football events. All games are generally done by 9:45, so we would be closed by 10 p.m.
Okay, thank you. So that, just to clarify, you would be changing on your operating plan that your all opening hours for all days commencing at 4 p.m. Sunday to Thursday, you would change that to 10 p.m.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you for that. I'll open it up now to questions from members. I've got Councillor Durno first.
Yeah, thanks, Convener. Hi, Paul. Thanks for coming today. My question is concerning the children's policy. Obviously, you've just got one room and the bar is in the one room. Have you got any plans to maybe sort of box the bar off a wee bit or something? Because I'm just thinking, if you've got, I usually have, like, say, people have to have food when they have children in the establishment. If, say, dads and pals are at the bar drinking, what's to stop young laddies coming across and standing next to them or whatever? You're saying we're going to take the kids away from the bar, but I'm not so much worried about the alcohol as in the situ. It's more like seeing... I'm a footballer's wife, to be honest, and I see what footballers are like when they get a wee bit rowdy and they've had a few drinks, especially if they've won a game. And it's just with children being in the vicinity, how are you going to stop children from being in that bar area when there's quite a lot of rowdy guys, you know, enjoying a pint? That's my main concern. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Durno. When we have a function, we set up the area with 2 tables directly adjacent to the bar for adults, and over towards, I'm not sure if you've been in the building, we've got a kitchen area. We set up 2 tables over there for children, and as we do say that the children are not allowed at the bar. Our staff, if a child approaches the bar, tells the child to move and get an adult to come to the bar.
Thanks for clarifying that, Paul.
Thank you. We'll go now to Councillor Whiteside.
Thanks, and thanks for coming along today. I was just a bit confused about the hours as well. If you were changing to 4 p.m, would that not restrict you during school holiday times?
If we considered the hours to open from 4 p.m. To 4 p.m. instead of 12 noon during the school holiday times, we would then just put in a variation if we were asked to then host an event during that time, during the school holidays.
Okay, could I maybe just ask a legal representative, is there a problem with having it from 12 if that would avoid having to put in variations?
It's up to the applicant, sorry, as to what hours they want to open, and then you have to consider it from there. There's certainly, I don't think there's any objections around the hours that I've seen, and I don't think the LSO has made any comment on that either.
I just thought, yeah, that the 12 o'clock is a normal opening time. I don't see that would be a particular problem, but obviously it's entirely up to yourself.
Yeah, that's fine. I would just like to clarify, even if the hours were kept in place from 12 o'clock, we would categorically not be open from 12 o'clock Monday to Friday.
Thank you for that. Move now to Councillor Stewart.
Thanks, Convener. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify with the applicant, because when I was listening to our legal there asking regarding the times, I'm not sure if I picked it up wrong. Can the applicant just confirm that the times, what he was saying was 4 o'clock opening till 10, but that would not be the case for the weekend. Is that correct? It would be 12 o'clock at the weekends.
That's correct. It would be Sunday to Thursday. We would concede to the 4 o'clock, the 10 o'clock closing time.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. We'll move now to Councillor Gregg.
Thank you, Convener. Yeah, my question is similar to Councillor Whiteside's. It's about your hours. I just want to double check that you're quite happy to concede those hours, because the way I kind of look at it is that if you do that, you're limiting perhaps part of your market. And it may be that if you were to have a private function that was before that hour, it would then mean that you then can't sell alcohol, or you're going to have to do a variation of your licence or apply for an occasional, which is obviously going to cost time, money and everything else. So just to be absolutely sure, I mean, I can see because of the objections and things that have happened that you maybe think that's perhaps a good and right thing to do, and I commend you for that. But just to be absolutely sure, because if when we agree times today, then that's it. So just to make sure, see if you want an extra couple of minutes, or just to make sure that you're quite happy with those times.
Ideally, we wouldn't want to change the hours. However, as the committee, we did speak that the members of the committee who are involved with the community club, we all work Monday to Friday 9 to 5 anyway. So realistically, we wouldn't be open during school holidays or anything like that at that time. It was just basically to cover the issue that we didn't have to put in a variation of a licence, and it would be for term time when we get asked to host fun days and events and things like that.
Councillor Brays.
Yeah, it seems to me it's it's not a very efficient way to be licensing these premises. You know, it seems sort of cluttered, and I'm sure there could be a better way of doing this than having to apply for the. Could you tell me, please, again, why can't you have the premises licensed during term time in the afternoon?
We can have it during term time in the afternoon. It's just we wouldn't be open. If the hours were granted from 12 to 12, we would not be open at that time up until at least 5, 6 o'clock anyway.
Make here is that if children were in these premises during term time, instead of being at school, you would remove them, or they wouldn't get in. And if they did,
Yeah, I think the hours that we're seeking from 12 to 12 is just to give us that flexibility should we be asked out with term time, and that they are in place and we didn't have to put in variations.
Thank you. We'll now go to Councillor Scott.
I'm really, my mind's boggled with this. Right, so you would prefer 12 to 12. However, you're not going to open till 4, so why not just going with 12 to 12, but you're going to open at 4 o'clock? I mean, it's entirely up to you when you open, but it saves then work and variations for you and the board and the admin. So you're not better just going with the 12 to 12, and it's your decision what time you open rather than...
That's correct. Sorry, that is correct. That is, we would seek to have those hours, so we did have that degree of flexibility.
Sorry, can I come in there? We've got to be a wee bit careful that we're not giving advice, because that's not our role. So I don't think you have to answer that one.
Yes, thank you, councillors. Yeah, we just need to be careful. The application before you has hours 12 to 12. It is within the gift of the applicant to suggest amended hours if they wish. However, if they don't wish, you will have to determine it on the basis of 12 to 12. So we need to be careful about offering advice from the board to applicants at this point. It's their call how they put that forward.
Okay, there are no other questions at the moment, so thank you very much, but we probably will get you back, okay?
No problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Richard Walker, yes?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, I am a resident in Elliott Street, and I'm here to basically represent the 10 or so people that signed up to the objection that we put in as a group concern when we saw the application for the premises licence. Thanks to Paul, by the way, for clearing up a lot of the issues that we did actually have regards the licensing hours, especially, were a major concern. I did have a speech. I'm going to go away from that, given the new information that we actually have relating to it. But I must admit, when I'm sitting here, I'm still confused about the opening hours. I think as a lot of the committee were actually speaking about. The opening hours are well, originally a major concern because the location of the premises. I mean, it's within a public park, and there's a path runs past the club, and basically there's potentially hundreds of school kids walk along that path every 4 times a day, getting to and from the high school. So there would have to be strict controls over. We feel there should be really strict controls over, the opening hours of it. There's a school and there's also a play park right next door to it. So even given the weekend opening hours, there's kids hanging about there in the evenings, which has never been a problem. I've been a resident in Elliott Street for 20 years now. And it is a busy park. It is a busy play park. And there's kids hanging about. So I would hope that the board take all of that into consideration when issuing this licence. There were a few other issues that we highlighted in the objection, and I don't want to repeat all of that because I'm sure you've all taken that on board. But there's already issues on Laughlin's Drive with parking, and I've not heard. I know your roads department and thing will surely had a look at this application as well as the police, and potential further congestion on what is already a busy street that's going to cause additional hazards for pedestrians and residents alike. Changing it from an occasional licence to a full-time licence will surely involve deliveries. The club is situated 70 yards away from the nearest bit of road, and how are deliveries going to actually get in and out of this place? It's further congestion, further potential hazard. So this is information that we would like more of. The access to and from the club, given I walked around there last night and it's pitch black darkness, overshadowed by trees. There's no public lighting on any of the footpaths and things. Is this something that will be addressed should a licence be given? Additionally, security of the premises, with there being alcohol within the place now. Is there going to be an improvement on I know there's CCTV cameras there just now, but is this something that's all going to be addressed by the other more relevant authorities than just a group of concerned neighbours? Basically, that's the gist of the concerns that we have as neighbours on the street.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
What I'll do now is I'll actually ask if board members have any questions. Do you want to just remain seated? Yeah. And we'll make a start with Councillor Gregg.
Thank you. My question's actually for legal. I'm not quite sure by reading through the report, but when this was the bowling club, did they have were they licensed or was it unlicensed, or is this a completely new license altogether?
I don't have that information about the previous licence, but you need to deal with this one in its own. Yeah. Well, hold on.
So then my question for the applicant. I notice your concern about. Notice your concern about, obviously, because it's very close to the high school, and I've seen that the kids that come out and go that way as well, and you're concerned around that. But I noticed that a lot of the kids from the high school go to Tesco's for their lunch, and it's licensed, and they'll walk past a couple of bars on their way to get to Tesco's, and they're licensed. So why is this more of a problem than those other licensed premises?
I think we're just pointing out what our concerns were. You know, any activity on the beer terrace is potentially going to be viewed by school children.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Now we've got Chris Shepherd also attending remotely, so we'd have to ask if he wants to speak.
Chris Shepherd, are you online?
Thanks for coming to me.
Would you like to add anything?
No, so I think Richard's basically clarified the main concerns of the neighbours. So thank you for him for obviously being in attendance in the chamber today. I think there was maybe a couple points was why do the club feel the need to move to obviously a new premise licence versus the kind of the current occasional licence they have at present. And again, obviously, Paul from the community club mentioned around the work with the neighbours and the community partners, which is nice to hear. But again, a lot of some of the objections around kind of some of the antisocial behaviour that's been kind of observed in the last few months since they've taken over the tenancy. So how would this potentially be addressed, and how would that be worked forward with the residents of Elliott Street?
Thank you for that. There is an LSO report on this one that members will have had time to read. The LSO is not here today, but obviously we should take that into account. We have the letters of objection from page 19 to 29, and my understanding is that building standards are now content. Is that correct? Can someone? Lee?
Yes, good morning, convener. Yes, we're happy with the application.
Thank you very much. Can I ask the applicant maybe to come back? Having heard what you've heard on the from the objectors and so on, is there anything else that you would like to say in summing up?
Yeah, so we would like to confirm that the question was asked if the premises was previously licensed. We can confirm it was. The previous licence holder has been in touch with us, offering advice on that as well. So we can confirm there was a licence. As for the lighting effect, now we know there was. We've brought this up before ourselves that there is no public lighting from the gate to the public streets. So we leave a light on until all residents have left or till all patrons have left the premises. Our club electrician is currently looking at putting lights on the inside of the fence that shine out so that people can walk up and down that path freely during the dark periods. In response to Chris with the antisocial behaviour, we've had no complaints that we're aware of through antisocial behaviour. After every function, we have checked the CCTV if there has been anything that we've not noticed, and nothing springs to mind. We do ask all attendees at any function to please be respectful of the neighbours and the noise when leaving the premises. And yet we've had no complaints that we're aware of at that point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, can I just clarify deliveries. Our deliveries are very few and far between. We have a delivery truck that will come once every 6 months because we don't go through a lot of stock because we're only open as and when requested at the moment. Anything else that we do need, we have a cash and carry account, so we purchase from a cash and carry and bring it in that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further questions from members before I go to the recommendations? Any comments? Councillor Melville.
I actually did have a question. It was about the first part of your presentation where you said that you would be happy to remove the adult entertainment section if gambling did not fall under that. I just wonder if you had any, if you were able to just clarify what your actual position on that is for the board.
So yes, it is. Sorry, it might have been my confusion when filling in the form that adult entertainment consists of anything for over 18s. So we've been asked to host casino nights and the premises be used for a poker league. I think that's on a Monday evening. It was my understanding that that would fit into adult entertainment. We do understand that for any other types of adult entertainment, there is an SEV or an SEL licence, I think. That is something that we would never seek to have at the club. We would never apply for, and we would not have that type of activity.
So can I just...
It will probably not surprise you to know that there is no definition of adult entertainment within the Licensing Scotland Act, which is so unhelpful. I think generally we would probably expect if there was going to be the likes of poker nights, then that would probably fall under that. But the applicant is referring to sexual entertainment venues, which is a totally separate licensing system, and that's under the civic aspect. So that would not be the same thing that we're talking here.
Okay, we now have Councillor Nicholl.
Thank you, Convener. I'd be willing to have a 12 o'clock start.
Thank you for that comment. I'll now move to Councillor Durno.
Yeah, thanks, Convener. I know a lot of works went in on the club on turning this building that was vacant for a long time. So I would be quite happy to allow this application to go through under the conditions that we'll have. Obviously, it'll be monitored for any neighbour complaints, etc. But I think at the moment, with the amount of work that they've done with it, it'll be good for the community and it'll be good for the young players coming up to have a clubhouse of their own. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Councillor Gregg.
Thank you, Convener. Just a simple one. I noticed once the applicants had given their bit of a speech and then the objector came and gave their bit of a speech, I mean, you had a speech prepared and you said that there was information that had come to light. And I think this is really important, especially aspect from us as a licensing board, is that the communication between the premises and the public, if you work together collectively, then that'll nip any problems in the bud. So what if the licence is granted, because we haven't got to that decision yet, but if that is the case, then work together collectively and help alleviate any concerns, because it certainly sounds like they're more than willing to work with the people that live round about. So I would, if the licence is granted, I would take your concerns to them first. If you're not happy, then of course put formal complaints in that way. But I think communication is a really important thing there.
No, you only get the one chance to speak, unfortunately. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. With that, I'll just remind the LSO's report did actually suggest the external drinking conditions would be accepted. There are 3 external drinking conditions, and you are aware of them, presuming that you do accept them?
We are aware and we do accept, yes.
Okay, with that, I think we will move to the recommendations. And the recommendations are: 1, to grant the application subject to statutory conditions and any other discretionary or local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 2, to propose modification of the operating plan or layout plan or both, and if the applicant accepts the proposed modification, request that the applicant amend the application and thereafter grant the modified application with the proposed amendment, subject to the statutory conditions and any other discretionary local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 3, to defer the application to the next licensing board, or 4, to refuse the application on one or more of the grounds referred to in paragraph 4. Those are the recommendations. Can I just be clear with the applicant before we actually make that decision on the times? Are you sticking with your application from the 12 o'clock? Was that a...
We would like to stick to the original application opening times, please.
So what we're actually then deciding on is the original application as with any amendments for drinking. Councillor Gregg.
Thank you, Convener. I propose that we grant the licence subject to the standard conditions and also include the 3 external additions as per the LSO's report.
Seconded by Councillor Scott. Anyone else? No? Okay. The decision is unanimous. The application is granted.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move now to B, which is San Diego, 61 Ladybridge Street, Arbroath, page 30 on your papers. There is a plan at page 35 and there is an LSO report at pages 31. Now we have Tahir Ramzan. Is that correct? With us this morning. Tahir, would you like to talk to your application?
Good morning. There's not much to say from my side, I don't think, because it's a restaurant and we've had an occasional licence for a while now and we're looking to turn it into a permanent licence. I think the site had a licence many years ago. It became a chip shop. Since then, we've converted it into a Mexican and burger restaurant in Arbroath. It's been very popular, and as with any restaurant, having a licence is part of the package with restaurants and does entice customers to come in. We specialise in cocktails and only a handful of bottled beers. In terms of closing, we are usually shut by 11 p.m. and it's not seen as a late night drinking bar, it's a restaurant. I think unless you have any questions, it'll be easier for me to then answer them.
No problem. Thank you very much for that. I'll ask the board if they have any questions. Yeah, we have Councillor Melville first.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I've got 2 questions which may actually bring in environmental health, because I can see in the LSO's report that they're seeking a noise management plan to be submitted. So I'll ask you first, are you content with that? Do you know kind of the process to get a noise management plan in place? You do, excellent. That's fine. And in terms of environmental health, have we got Louise?
Hi, good morning. Yes, we have since received a noise management plan and returned a number of comments on that plan on the 7th of February, which remain outstanding and require to be addressed.
Just as a quick follow-up, obviously that is something that we can kind of assess, but that presumably could be addressed through condition if we require it to be. But the second question that I had was, in terms of the activities, I can see that you've listed food delivery in there. I just want to be absolutely crystal clear that you're not going to include any alcohol delivery in that.
No, we don't wish to deliver alcohol to anyone's doors.
Right, thanks.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? And note that, excuse me, there is an LSO report. The LSO, as we know, isn't here today. No, there was nothing, no objection, no issues, so that seems to be okay. Councillor Scott.
I was just going to say I can see no reason why we don't just move to grant this licence.
Are there any other questions before we go to the recommendations? Councillor Fotheringham.
Could I ask Mr McQueen, would it be possible for us to grant this, but subject to Environmental Health being satisfied with their comments on their noise management plan?
Yes, I think we. Sorry, is that gone off? No, it is on. What is noted is that Environmental Health have not objected necessarily, and there is a noise management plan that has been submitted. I have seen the comments that have gone back, and it may be that there's a couple of matters of discussion under what is appropriate to be covered under an alcohol licence in terms of that noise management plan. But those things can go back and forward. So there is one that's submitted, and it can be negotiated on that.
Okay, we move to Councillor Durno.
I just wanted to make a comment. You're maybe not ready for comments yet, are you?
Comments are fine, I think, at this stage.
Yeah, it was just to say I just wanted to wish the applicant all the best, because it's a new application and only opened at the end of last year, and I just wish them well, because obviously new business in our growth or new ventures is always welcome. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any comments before we move to recommendations? Okay, we'll go to the recommendations. They are, as previously, 1, to grant the application subject to statutory conditions and any other discretionary or local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 2, to propose a modification to the operating plan or layout plan or both, and if the applicant accepts the proposed modification, request that the applicant amend the application and thereafter grant the modified application with the proposed amendment, subject to the statutory conditions and any other discretionary or local conditions which the board may wish to impose. 3, to defer the applicant to the next licensing board. 4, to refuse the application on one or more of the grounds referred to in paragraph 4. Councillor Fotheringham.
Thank you, Convener. Yes, I propose that we grant the application subject to the statutory conditions and any other discretionary or local conditions which the board may wish to impose. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brays.
Yes, I'd like to second that. Thanks.
Can I just clarify that the additional condition is subject to the noise management plan being negotiated with ECP? Is that your proposal, Craig?
Yes, it is, but as Mr McQueen said, there's been no objection from ECP, so I don't know if we can make that a condition. Okay, that's fine then. That's what we'll do. Thank you.
Okay, with that, no, I think that is unanimous. Yep, okay. Application granted with those conditions. Thank you very much. That takes us on to item 5, personal licences, delegated approvals. Members will have had time to actually read these. Do we agree to note? Move to item 6, occasional licences, delegated approvals. Same as before. Do we agree to note? Item 7, premises licences, minor variations, delegated approvals. Do we agree to note? And item 8, confirmation of provisional licences, licences, delegated approvals. Do we agree to note? Thank you.
John, could you stop the live stream, and Civic will start in 5 minutes, the Civic Licensing Committee.